The fourth annual Benedicto Kiwanuka Memorial Lecture kicked off this morning at the High Court in Kampala to remember a man who stood as a pillar in the rule of law and a selfless defender of human rights. Several government dignitaries led by President Yoweri Museveni, the Chief Justice Alphonse Owiny Dollo, the Attorney General Yoweri Kiwanuka, former Chief Justices Benjamin Odoki and Bart Katurebe, as well as members of the judiciary, turned up to pay tribute to one of the men who laid the first foundation in building constitutional democracy in Uganda.
We are now receiving the Honorable Chief Justice, the Deputy Chief Justice, and the Honorable Principal Judge.
The fourth memorial lecture was organized under the theme Administration and Delivery of Justice in Uganda Through the Years. While delivering his speech, Chief Justice Alphonse Dollo touched on several issues in his speech, amongst them the President's complaints against bail for capital offenders, saying the law accords judicial officers discretion to grant bail.
The Constitution gives discretion to judicial officers to grant bail. But the law itself and decided cases abound that the exercise of discretion must be judiciously done. A judicial officer does not wake up from the wrong side of the bed and deny bail to an applicant, or wake up from the right side of the bed and grant bail to all and sundry. The rules for grant of for bail, and this is just one instance where discretion is exercised, is very clear. There are many factors in addition to the judicial official or officer satisfying himself or herself that the applicant will actually turn up for hearing when the time comes. But there are many other factors. It is the duty of a judicial officer to look at the entire circumstance when considering bail.
He also noted his concern with the continuous torture of suspects, which he says waters down the legacy of the late Benedicto Kiwanuka. In response to the remarks made by the Chief Justice, the President revealed that bail is not a right, but rather a provocation that will cause problems for the country.
As the CJ said, responsibly. But now, in no time, we are now being told that bail is a right. Right? Really? Somebody has killed a person and you see him walking here. This is a provocation, I can tell you. This is a provocation. We cannot accept it. And the CJ made it very clear that that's why people are taking the law in their own hands. This bail is a big provocation. We are going to address it. Also, politically, we are going to, constitutionally, we are going to mobilize ourselves. I'm glad the CJ has, because it will cause us problems.
The head of state also spoke out against the issue of life imprisonment, emphasizing the need to implement the death sentence for murderers.
Is this issue of maximum sentence, life imprisonment? Life imprisonment. But you killed a person. You are not put in jail for life. The one you killed is not in jail. He is dead. So for us, it is an eye for an eye. The question of commuting the death sentence, that can come later, but it must be a life for a life.
Former Chief Justices stood firm in honoring the memory of their counterpart who was kidnapped from his office in 1972 by troops under the command of General Idi Amin, only to be pronounced dead later on.
Benedicto Kiwanuka and Uganda suffered because of two players, Mengo and of course Idi Amin.
The memorial service had a series of events that included the launch of a book written by former Chief Justice Samuel Wako Wambuzi, an awarding of 2 people with the Benedicto Kiwanuka Life Achievement Awards, as well as the unveiling of the new monument in honor of Benedicto Kiwanuka. Kiwanuka was the first Prime Minister of Uganda, a leader of the Democratic Party, and one of the persons that led the country in the transition between colonial British rule and independence. Melissa Mboha, reporting for CTV, PM Edition.